In 1985, I was part of a war games club in the north, and we all had different fantasy type troops: Lord of the Rings, Warhammer, Vendel, Vanguard, all manner of different things. And what we used to do was get together, and everyone used to give their good forces, for want of a better word, to one side, and you'd put all of the bad guys on the other. So I had goblins and orcs, and I had elves and dwarves. So we'd split them, then you'd throw a dice for which side you were on. We played that for a while. We weren't finding it very satisfactory because it was just games for no reason. And then one day we had an idea, and the idea was to have a world campaign. The first game we played was here, a little place there called Water Meetings. And we called it Water Meetings because that's a place near where the club was, but also we were playing on two big table tennis tables, and where the table tennis tables joined, we left a gap deliberately. We put tables on top, so big table tennis tables on top, but we left a gap as a canal. We put a cooking foil down the middle as a canal, and then we did a second one. So we had one canal going north to south and one joining it coming east to west, and we called that point Water Meetings. And at the time there was nothing there, and the good forces won the battle, so they won that square. And then over the years, since the 80s, we've fought more and more. We've redrawn the map many times, and it's now evolved into what we call the world of Jural. So I'm going to take you back through time now and show you what that one little square has evolved into through games and through imagination. So this is the first part of the map. This is the Principality of Dumor. This is where the humans live. We've got forests, but there is a realm of goblins there. We've got elven forests either side, but a lot of medieval type human things. The game is a sort of, if human terms, it's about 12-15 now. And then we've got pages again. These are coming down to the dwarf lands. You can just see at the top there the dwarf wall. But if I pull the book towards, you'll see that we're now on two sides of A3. And Dunmore is off the page, right up there. And again, I can flick these pages over now. That's the Southern Dwarf Lands. This is the Royal Forest. This is to the east of where we were. And we've got, where's Water Meetings, where we started. We came to the big river with a bridge. That bridge was interesting. We had a game, two table tennis tables, but they weren't very well put together. Let me push you that so you can see it. That's it. Oh, no. So you must need to go. Yeah, that's it. This bridge here. There's a table tennis table there and a table tennis table there. And in the gap, we put a piece of balsa wood. And it was a mistake because halfway through this huge, enormous battle, we put there were just really two great armies of evil and good clashing in melee on the bridge. And eventually the bridge fell off and it just fell down the ravine and killed everybody on it and left too big a gap for anybody to cross. So after literally three full days of wargaming, we ended up with no result whatsoever. And then we can turn the page, look, because it goes on and on and on. We've got Nindor, the big swamp. Down here we've got the lands of Koth. The Knights Illegitimate there, we're on their base. And again, flip it over again. And now we've got Sulan, where the wizards live here. This is all wizard land. The wizards were banished for a long time because we didn't like magic in our game. So we popped them all on here, out the way, where they couldn't do any harm. And then we've got the Westerlings. And then up north we've got all these islands. And we flick it again. These are all A3 pages. Now you can see Zelos. The standing stones there of the three sisters. And these have all developed over years, and you can count how many squares there are. This is a big effort. There's another swamp up here. There are dragons. Here we've got huge mountain ranges. That didn't work. I was supposed to show you the huge mountain ranges and it didn't. That might be better. How's that? No, it's gone back to where it was. Down here we've got Upson. That all started because we thought it was quite funny to call the hills the ups and downs. So the mountains became Upson. There's a Steel Eye Span song, isn't there? She lives at the side of the ups and downs. Fold her all little all day. Somewhere, I think she's going to Aylesbury. So these are all ups and it goes on for miles. Every square is 10 miles. So on flat ground, you can travel 10 miles in a day. Mounted, you can travel 20 miles in a day. On a road, you can go faster. In the mountains, you go painfully slow. Pretty much every mountain, all these little squares are all the different clans of orcs, the buzzards and the bear paw. And then way up there, you might be able to see here coming across. You've got the wastes of Utor. And we flip it again to see more of Upson. And then the Sumadian wastes. More of Upson, more of Upson. It's huge, is Upson. It's full of goblins and brown bears and all manner of things. And then we've come out of Upson finally. This is still Upson. Black Mountain. That's where Arboth lives. Or probably doesn't now because it's probably seriously old. Stag clan we've got there. There are dragons in here. And then now we're into the big desert up north. We've got this huge area of open ground with a few sort of medieval poor workers. Not ruled by anybody. They were ruled by elves, but the elves seem to have got fed up with them and nobody goes there anymore. And then we've got more maps here. And then that's Gaia. Those are high elves in Gaia. They're a bit like, I suppose if you were going to describe them, you'd say they were almost like classic Roman or Greek. Very posh, very up themselves, as my dwarfs would say. I don't know why I try and be subtle with this camera. I'm an idiot. One day. And then we've got marshes, and we've got more areas of sea and hills. And then we've got islands, archipelagos. We're still going, and we've got more mountains. The Rye Heath, where the Rye Games takes place there. And that's the end. The end, that should say, shouldn't it? So you see there, that's a monstrous effort to go from water meetings to this entire tome of maps and ideas. Sometimes every square wasn't developed through playing a game. Sometimes we would play a game and it might be 4 or 5 squares away. So we would logically then join the squares together. And because we keep redrawing the map, we draw it better and better and better. And we change names and make them more realistic, whatever. So that's a little look at our maps for the Vedang Chronicles, which started in exactly the same way as I've started the map on the previous episode for the Arthurian game. Hope that gives you a bit of inspiration. Ta-da, Chuck.